every Monday through Thursday at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform, radiomisfits.com for all your podcast needs. I don't know where James is. That's so let me just fill a little time. We'll waste a little bit of time. Why isn't that going through? Hold on. I'm sure that's James. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not letting me into the studio, the proper studio.
What do you mean? What is the fucking proper studio? I sent you. What?
You're not supposed to send me a link. You're supposed.
I didn't send you a link. I didn't send you a link.
Good. Well, good. I'm supposed to just show up, and are you in the? I mean, are you in the team studio or whatever?
Dude, I got one event scheduled right now. That's the Pugs and Parker show.
All right, send me a link.
Okay. All right, there he goes. See, these are the problems that we have. We're gonna have to figure this out. He's trying to do something different. I have no idea what he's trying to do. So bear with me for a second. I mean, I like what he's trying to do. What he's trying to do is good. Boy, oh boy, this is a. Hold on, bear with us for a second here. Explains where he is anyway. All right, he should show up any minute now. There he is. All right. So this is Pugs and Parker. Me and James Parker. We do the show every Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Time. This is the second stream. I do two. I do one at noon every Monday through Friday. That comes on at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. We call that just Pugs without Parker. No, we call that high noon. That's current events, hot topics, trends, whatever it is that people are talking about. I run them down for you at noon every day. So at the end of the little 2-hour thing, you have a pretty good idea on all the things that are happening in the world, at least through the lens of a middle-aged narcissist. James Parker joins us. Look at him. All right, I don't know, dude. I'm looking at
I don't know.
Every day I do the same thing. I schedule the show. I make sure that
this is good though, because I still can control captions and stuff. So I still have all the bells and whistles. This works. And there's no harm, no foul. I'm just a little late. So
okay, then I gotta send. Then I still okay. So that's how it'll work. Then I still have to send you a link. But when you get into the link, you're still an admin, or you're still like co-host, or whatever the hell it is on the team viewer. Because if you've got the ability to do what you're doing right now, isn't that everything you wanted to be able to do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. All right, so we figured it out. Look at us.
All right, so I'm with Ross. Is this racist cartoon night or what, bro?
It is not racist cartoon night.
Why are you doing this to me?
All right, it might be racist cartoon night. I'll have to go back and find the racist cartoons. I made a nice little list. We'll get to that. I got to know what's going on with you. What's going? Look at you in your winter sweater. Look at you, snowflakes on your chest. You look like a Midwesterner. You do.
No, I'd look like the second half of Dumb and Dumber when they're in Aspen.
Okay, same thing. Midwesterner.
No, how about it's like 4 degrees outside? That's what's up.
It's cold. It is. It's not 4 degrees, but it is cold. It is. What is it? 27. It is 27 degrees in North Texas, and I'll have.
That's like -2.5 Celsius.
Good
so
Texas blood.
Yeah.
Texas have very thin blood, and it's due to 6 months of 105 degrees. It tends to thin it out, and then when it just drops below 32, it feels rough. But I have to tell you, I think I got that Texas thin blood myself because it's bitch ass cold tonight, man. Mm-hmm. It's cold.
Yeah, your body adjusts real quick.
Lord, yeah, it does. So, all the schools are canceled. My kid ain't got no school. Hold on. Text. Stop the show for a text. Ooh, what is it? Oh, is that Chicago? Chicago's currently 6 degrees. So there's Ed just chiming in with it 6 in Chicago.
What did I say? 4?
Yeah. It's 21.
I joke with Chicago's reality.
All the schools are canceled. My kid doesn't have school tomorrow because too cold. I don't know. We're not getting any of the sleet or the snow or the ice. Maybe that'll come tonight. What's happening out there with you?
We haven't gotten any word, so I just assume school's going to go on as normal. I assume, though, if it were this way in New Orleans, they would have closed schools. New Orleans just couldn't wait to cancel school just for light and transient causes. They like literally canceled school one time because it was supposed to rain hard the next day. Like they canceled rain for Thursday and Friday because we have a big storm coming in on Friday. It's like, well, why are you canceling Thursday? Like, I don't get these people. I guess that they just wanted to drink because that's what New Orleans just does. That's their default. What do you want to do? Just go get a beer.
Yeah, let's go
Yeah.
party. Let's go dance in the streets. It's too cold for school. Never too cold for a jazz band funeral.
Well, the fun part about New Orleans, one of the things I liked is that they did drink a whole lot. So you could go to your kids' kindergarten charter school fundraiser and they got beer.
You'd be drunk. Well, that's like the Midwest. That's like, yeah, we all drink there. Yeah, we're outside the Bible Belt. New Orleans is the coolest city in the South because of that, because they don't adhere to all of these, like, prohibitive restrictions on people's fun times. Oh, now I'm not saying that there aren't parishes in Louisiana where you can't dance, but you know what I mean? You can drink. You can drink everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Footloose was based somewhere in Louisiana, but,
Feels like
huh?
Feels like it.
Yeah. Where was that base? Was that like supposed to be Alabama or Mississippi or something?
I don't know.
The
Yeah,
town?
I don't know. I honestly thought it was Louisiana. I thought it was somewhere in Louisiana. But
No, and look, like when you talk about New Orleans relaxed approach to alcohol, one thing that I think the rest of us should mimic is the fact that you can walk outside with a drink. And once you've done that just for like 1 year, it becomes so normal that when you have to go back to the outside world and not take your drink that you bought at a bar as a grown ass man with your own money, and you're not going to get behind the wheel of a car, I'm just going to start walking, and I can't do that on a sidewalk. Why? A child might see me. I'm so damn dangerous. I need to finish it before I go outside. What do you think I'm going to do? Just dump it? No, I'm idiots. So
I got to be honest. You're kind of wired. You're wired because of where you grew up. You're wired to think that that's I like. Okay, so growing up in Chicago, I don't know that there's a law, but if you want to like walk outside your house with a beer, or walk down the street with a beer, I think you can. I mean, people did it all. I don't know if you know what I mean. I don't know if it's technically illegal, but
So
you can't go from bar to bar with a drink in your hand. That
it's
you can't.
if you walk out of your house with the beer from your own fridge, that's fine.
Yeah.
In most places, but you can't go to a bar, buy unpackaged liquor, and leave the premises with it in almost all of America, except for 3 places.
Would you hear that? That was like some weird kind of gurgle thing.
Yeah, you ate a lot. That's fine.
Yeah.
Don't eat so fast.
Actually, I ate nothing. That's what's going. It's going. I need something. 3 places
Yeah.
because Chicago has what's known as the slashy. Do you know what a slashy is?
It's like a few blocks that are cordoned off where you can kind of walk between.
No, a slashy is a liquor store with a bar. It's you walk into the liquor store and you can buy your packaged wine and beer and all that stuff, but then there's also a bar there with a bartender where you can drink what you just bought if you wanna just sit there. So, I understand, and I didn't know this because 'cause they're everywhere. They're on every corner in Chicago. I thought that it was just something that was everywhere, but I learned that the slashy is a Chicago thing, that other cities don't have that, yet they have to be separated. Like New York City, the place where you buy packaged has to be separated by like 50 feet or something. I don't know.
Well,
But New Orleans also has slashies, right? They have liquor stores where you can drink right there, right?
I don't think so. I don't think that's really a thing. They used to have bars in the grocery stores, and then that ended before I got there. But that was something that everyone had to tell me about. You go to Schwegmans, and the husbands would all be sitting up front at the bar having drinks while the wives and kids were getting the groceries. And it was great because if there was a game on or something, the wives could still do their thing. Anyway, there's 3 municipalities where in the entirety of the city that you can walk around with purchased liquor from a bar and just carry it around in public. New Orleans one, Las Vegas the other. The third one's just a rando out there. Lafayette, Louisiana.
Lafayette.
Right. And there's a lot of places that have, like Memphis has Beale Street, which is like 8 blocks that is sort of cordoned off where you can walk as long as you stay in that district. You can walk around with alcohol. And there's certain other, designated areas with exceptions permitted. But for the entirety of the city, it's just those 3.
Memphis. I've actually been to Memphis and I've drank while walking down the street. So I don't know. But that's again, I think that was probably just on Beale Street.
Yeah, so Jeff is saying in Hicksville, Iowa, you can't even carry an open tall boy or silo out of a gas station unless it's in a effing bag. You know how many paper bags I throw away. Is that universal? Because they do that in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma, the only 3 states I've lived in.
A paper bag, you got to drink it. Well, I mean, you see bums drink. Is that a movie?
No, it has to be out of the store in an opaque bag, and so a lot of the liquor stores have those black opaque bags, and paper bags are more common.
I don't know.
You can't, like, if you go buy one of those single beers at a gas station,
Right.
they give it to you in a paper bag. They can't, you just can't walk out with it in your hand. It has to be in a bag. That is a law.
I'm looking for an example of a slashy, but all they're doing is showing me the insides of the bars and not the liquor stores next to them. Yeah, well, yeah, alcohol. What are you gonna do? When I moved down here, I tell you, one of the first things that shocked me. I've told this story. I was going to a party, and I said, "Oh, there's a Walgreens. Pull into the Walgreens." And they're like, "What do you want to go to Walgreens for?" I go, I want to buy a bottle of wine." They were like, "You can't buy wine at Walgreens." I go, "What are you talking about? Walgreens is a liquor store." They're like, "No, it's not." I go, "Well, it is where I come from. They sell liquor at Walgreens." Not down here. Also, do we still have the Sunday laws here in Texas? I don't know. I've never really had to
Yeah,
run.
I absolutely loathe them. This is one of these things that blows my mind about my fellow man, and just one of the shortcomings of being in a republic or a democracy and not in some great authoritarian state is the fact that we all don't like these laws. Like, we live in a democracy. If we all just got off our ass and did something about it, we could overturn this tomorrow. We could overturn daylight savings time in like within a year and never deal with that again. But no one cares.
Well, what's up with that? Are you one of these abolished daylight savings times guys? I have no side in this fight. I don't know. I don't care. It's just always bad. I don't understand what the argument is. Why is it bad?
Why do we change the time?
Farmers. That's what I always assumed.
Okay, so that's a dumb reason. Just go. Let's not.
Why? The farmers need to be out there working.
I don't care which one it is. Pick one of them and leave it. It doesn't serve any purpose. And
since when do we care about the farmers anyway? You know what I mean? I mean, since this is we're gonna stay married to this big issue, but everything else with the farmers, just screw them. But this,
it's not like all the stores close at 5:00 now, like they used to.
Right?
And farmers will be fine. They don't need that anymore. They're not. I know farmers. They're not asking for this.
Why is election day on Tuesdays?
Farmers? I don't know.
Farmers. Yes, it's exactly why farmers, because it was market day and it was believed to be the day that the farmers came into town. So we may as well make it easy for them to vote. Every other country in the world, people can vote on their days off. Not in this country.
Yeah,
this country has to leave work.
So Jeff, he says Iowa just 2 years ago switched Sunday sales from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. God forbid we can't buy beer on a Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Dude, you can't buy at all on Sunday in Texas, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. I've never had the problem, but I've heard people say you go to buy your, I don't know. I
know the liquor stores are closed on Sunday, but I think you can still buy beer at the gas station and stuff, right?
You gotta be able to buy a bottle of wine on Sunday evening, right?
It's just dumb. Like you're not protecting any. I don't understand why these laws exist. And everyone thinks that no one that I've ever talked to in my entire life is like, I like the blue laws. I think you're wrong, Parker. No one has ever said that to me. No. There's like no one's even pushed back for 5 seconds. Hey, there's Wayne. Look at that.
I don't understand. I don't understand why these laws, because of what you just said. There is nobody. I don't know anybody. I mean, a handful of church ladies. Do they really have that much power? Is that what this is still about? It's about the power of the churches.
Yeah. You can buy beer and wine afternoon on Sundays. That's right. Thank you. I used to have this stuff burned into my skull, and then I left the state for like 17 years. And then I came back and I'm like, oh yeah, this dumb stuff.
You know what else is a crazy Texas dumb thing that when I came down here, people would tell me about it. And I'm an old bartender from Chicago. I worked in bars for 10 years. And when they told me about this thing, I was like, well, that's stupid. The TABC. What a moronic waste of an organization. They do everything that cops do in every other city. Why is this a special branch of the government? And why do bartenders in this state essentially have to go through a college level course before they can get certified to be a bartender? You're a bartender.
Here's the deal. That's just so they can have a certified bartender. I tended bar in Texas on various occasions and never got licensed by Jack or squat. I just went back
Oh,
there.
no?
Oh, James, Scotty called in sick. Can you tend bar at Papacitas in Longview? Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll go back there. I don't know what I'm doing, but whatever.
The way I became a bartender is you start out as a doorman, checking IDs. Then maybe you work behind the bar as a bar back. That's what you wanted. You wanted to be a bar back because the bar backs get tipped out. So you wanted that. You wanted to go from, because the only way you got tipped when you were working a door is if you let somebody, you know what I mean? If they were like, and I've taken a few 20s in my day. Why not? But yeah, you want to be a bar back, and then you'd have to be a bar back for like a year. And then they'd say, you want bartend? And you'd just be a terrible bartender for like the first 6 months before you figured it out. But there was no certification, there was no test, no nothing like that.
Man, you probably figured it out after the second day.
Yeah, I was good. I was a good bartender. I knew how to bartend. I grew up with alcoholics. I knew I was making martinis for my grandma at 10 years old. She used to teach me how to make her martinis.
That's so sweet.
It is. It's a nice little. She liked a gin martini. Basically, it was just gin in a chilled glass. She didn't put anything else in it. I'm like, you're just drinking gin. No, it's a martini. No, it's not. You're making it fancy. You're drinking straight gin, Grandma.
You're an alcoholic grandma.
Oh, she was, but a lovely woman.
Right.
All right. So my kid's out of school tomorrow. Highland Park schools have been closed. They announced that at like 3:00. So I don't know. I think you better be prepared for your kids to be home from school tomorrow.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. See, I hate the TABC because look, not to be political, but like if you're a libertarian, think of what the ATF is to a libertarian. Like this is an organization that should not even exist. Not have they like flown the coop and like vastly expanded their mandate. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. I love those things. And we should just be like selling those at every gas station. And
we shouldn't. But fine. You can have your crazy crackpot.
Look, imagine if you have the worldly sensibilities that I do, and then look at an agency like the ATF. And look, I don't say this is just a random aside, because this is something that delineates libertarians from conservatives. Is that they love cops, just back the blue, thin blue line. They have the little flag with the blue line on it and whatever. And libertarians understand for the most part that all the people that are cops, most of them are decent people, but they're enforcing a lot of really bad laws. And I'm not too quick to cheer for cops just as a reflex, especially when it comes to crap like the ATF or the TABC or any of these other agencies that I don't even think should exist.
Yeah. The other difference between libertarians and conservatives is pot. Libertarians are just conservatives. They're just right-wing conservatives who like to smoke pot. That's how I've at least.
That's a lot of them.
A lot of them, most of them. Most of the people. Now, I would not put you in that group because I've known you for a long time, and you have fairly strong reasonings for your libertarian viewpoints, and they've never wavered in the 20 years almost now that I've known you. However, there are just a lot of right-wing Fox News watcher guys who like to smoke weed and play in a band, and they call themselves libertarians because they don't go to church. That's like
because they at least have. They at least notice they're like, I am so for freedom, except for this plant. Okay, well,
because this is something that I like, and that's what's so selfish and weird about it.
Exactly
but I'm not saying you. I mean, there are legitimate people who define themselves as libertarians, but the vast majority of them are just like the weird bass player in the bar band. He wants to still be able to hang out with like the weird liberals who are, the musician guys. So, he's a libertarian.
You can always bust those guys because they say, well, weed prohibition is wrong. I'm like, okay, cool. What about crack prohibition? Wow, for Parker, you're saying a lot of crazy things. Okay, well, you're not consistent.
I wanted to bring this up to you. I talked about it today on the afternoon show. High noon, Monday through Friday at noon. Did you hear about what Vancouver is doing starting tomorrow, Mr. Libertarian?
Vancouver? What are they doing now?
Vancouver embarks on bold experiment to decriminalize hard drugs. Starts tomorrow. Starts in a matter of hours. It goes into effect on the 31st. Possession of small amounts of fentanyl, heroin, cocaine, and other hard drugs will now be allowed in Canada's westernmost province. Let's see here. It says 4 years after legalizing recreational marijuana, Canada will again display its progressive drug policy bona fides on January 31st, when a law to decriminalize the personal possession of hard drugs in British Columbia takes effect. Thoughts?
This is I think they have the right idea, but this is a horrible policy in the way that it's going to play out, even as a libertarian. And I like this better than what we have, but this is still wholly inadequate. So you mean that the people on the receiving end of the giant drug trafficking railroad that happens from Colombia or China or wherever else, yeah. So you're going to increase the demand, but the whole supply chain is still going to be illegal. So what you're going to have is the guys that are bringing it in and smuggling across the border, they can get in trouble. But once they get here, it's ollie oxen free. So what you're going to
No, that's not it at all. I think all they're trying to do is stop putting people in jail who are just junkies. So if you have an amount less than
that's the
2.5,
intent, but you're going to have an unintended
they're still
consequence.
going after traffickers. It's not like
And
they're
that's
firing off.
bad. That's a bad thing, because what you're doing, the relaxing of the law is necessarily going to have an increase in demand. So you're going to have an increase of illegal traffickers. You're going to make these cartels stronger and richer and
For
more
one city,
powerful.
for Vancouver, for one city, Vancouver. Have you been there?
Well, this is why I hope it's not repeated across the entire continent. Look, if you're going to make drugs legal, then damn it, make drugs legal. Don't just make the end transaction of the cartel legal and still keep all the rest of it in criminal hands. If you really want to get rid of all the crime, if you want to get rid of the power of the cartels, and it's not just that they're selling us drugs, it's that they basically bribed every politician from here to the South Pole, and we're destroying like an entire continent and a half with this thing. And it's not, decriminalization at the end user is not enough. Full legalization is what you're going to need if you want to reap the benefits of actually getting rid of prohibition. Prohibition didn't work for alcohol, and it's failing right now on everything else. And for all you who are worried about whether it's terrorism or white supremacist violence or coronavirus or whatever, more people are killed from legal prescription drugs than all these other things, and they're not getting any smoke. Just the illegal drugs are getting smoke. Okay. I don't understand our policy. I don't.
Here, let me show you this. There's a video that I found that speaks to this issue. So ecstasy, heroin, and those kind of things. What they don't want to be doing anymore is busting these girls with 2 ecstasy tablets who are showing up at the music festival, right? And like totally ruining their record. And I think that's fair. What you're calling for is wide and sweeping, and I don't think you ought to piss over this law simply because it doesn't go far enough. Baby steps, my guy. Baby steps.
And I threw in the sentence, it's probably better than what we have now, because you're ruining fewer people's lives, but you are having the continuing crime syndicate problem just being absolutely funded by it, and now you're going to increase that funding, and so there's going to be some unintended consequences. Overall, I like this better than it being completely illegal. At least on some levels, it's illegal, but this is not far enough. And I think people, when we legalize it, everyone's going to like the world that we live in afterwards, when the cartels are cut down by 99% of their revenue.
Well, the fear is, of course, and it's an absurd fear, that we're all going to become junkies. That everybody, now that it's legal, look, I don't care if heroin is legal or I don't want to do heroin every day. You know what I mean? I mean, people who aren't going to do drugs aren't going to do drugs just because it's the same with drinking, right? I don't drink to excess. I can buy any kind of alcohol I ever want. I barely drink at all. But the idea that simply by making it no longer illegal, that everyone is going to suddenly start doing hard drugs, I think is just ridiculous to me. Here's what I like about this law. Just what I said. And they specifically said, small amounts of marijuana, ecstasy tablets, and that kind of stuff. So I found this because, I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube of people getting busted. This is some festival in Las Vegas. Look at these girls. And look at what they're doing to these poor darling little girls. James, you want to see a bunch of girls covered in glitter wearing bikinis and furry boots get locked up? That's what's coming your way.
Oh no! I want to see them all whacked out of their minds, dancing around to electronic music.
Yeah, no, they got them before they got into the festival. Here, let's watch this for a second.
See, this sucks.
First of all, that's who we're throwing in jail. We don't need to throw these girls in jail. These girls should be out free to roam.
Amen. Oh my God. Yeah, they're running around in their drawers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
I don't want to live in a society that locks these ladies up. And what are they going to do? They're going to go do this drug that makes them like happy and fall in love with people around
Mhm.
in the room. Okay, this sounds like the start of a great Saturday. Oh, you think this should be illegal? I don't understand you.
That's what I don't get. The three drugs that they name here: marijuana, ecstasy, and heroin. None of those drugs are as dangerous as a frat boy with a 12-pack of beer in him. A frat boy with a 12-pack of beer in him is going to go out and wreak havoc on the community. Someone on heroin, they ain't getting off the couch. Someone on weed, they're playing video games at the party. Someone on ecstasy is having a threesome in the bedroom, right? None of these things.
Heroin's a different story. I bet you that ladies that are dressed like this, they're not. None of them are doing heroin.
No, but
0% of them.
they'll smoke a little weed and they'll take ecstasy. Jeez. All right, I gotta let the dog in. Hold on. Just look at her. The dog just kicked the door in because it's freezing out there.
Yeah, I would also like to. I'd like to point out that if you go to a party and when you're at the entrance, if you turn around and you look and these 4 girls are walking in, I think you're at the right party. I think you're about to have a really good night. If someone just hands you a pill, I recommend you take it. Drink a lot of water and set some reminders on your phone, like 6 in the morning, go home. Because if you, as long as you can get home by 6 in the morning, then you can have some coffee, you can shower, you can brush your teeth, you can change your clothes, and you can be presentable at work. I'm not saying you're going to be well rested and productive, but 6 o'clock is the cutoff for the all night party. So if you're going to one of these parties, set the reminder in your phone before the pills kick in, and you can save yourself a job.
See, you, and this is where our age difference comes in. Neither of us are the festival going generation. Like the big festival scene that started when we were you were in your 30s, you had kids. I mean, that's really
What? I've been to huge festivals. What the hell?
No.
You have too.
No, yeah, I've been to, I went to the original Lollapalooza, but those were like once a year. James, there is a festival every month now. There is a different one every month. I mean, it's a thing now. That's like all they have. And it's DJs. It's just like a dude standing up there with 20,000 people, and it's just a guy playing. I don't get it. And it's not even a guy playing records. That's even kind of a skill. It's a dude hitting a button on a computer and then just going, I know I sound old, but I mean, come on, man.
Well, there's a strong case to be made, and I'm not saying it's all about the drugs, but it's mainly based around the drugs. And
100%.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's some people they like to coincide their music with their chemical experiments, and if this many people are enjoying it to this extent, then shut up and let them have fun. Maybe you should try it yourself and see what all the fun is about. And if you want to just be some old man shouting at the clouds, then you're going to look like some old fuddy-duddy who doesn't know what's going on. And, pissing on this, you're pissing on a party. You're pissing on people having the most fun they've ever had in their entire life. And I have a really hard time doing that. Whether, because like I despise line dancing, but I don't crap on people that line dance because they're enjoying it. Hey, this is the fat girl's time to shine. Or, whenever you're at the wedding reception, it's the one thing we can all do together. Oh, we all know this one. So I don't crap on, I just don't participate in it. And, it really bothers me how much people crap on, like little candy kids doing raves and getting all whacked out on their mind and watching a DJ. It's like, dude, they don't need your permission. They're having a blast.
Yeah, and that's another difference between you and me. You were the rave generation. You when you were in your 20s, you were going to raves. By the time raves came around, I was in my 30s. Like, I remember the first rave, the only rave I ever went to was in Dublin on my honeymoon. And we felt so old. We're like standing in this old Irish castle. We thought we'd check it out. We were only like 30. We were both like 30 years old. Nah, actually less. We were like 28 years old. And everybody's like 18, 19, 20. And it's just like, okay, this ain't our scene. But looking at these girls here, I don't want to throw these girls in jail. You know what I want to do? The father in me comes out. I want to make sure they have water. I want to make sure they've got a ride home. I want to make sure that, they stay away from creepos. You know what I mean? I don't want to throw these girls in jail. Let them go have fun.
I want to ask them about their day. And 3 hours later, I want to be like, you know what? I don't think Justin's right for you. You know? It's just-
Yeah, I want to be like the non-creeper guy that they can talk to if they need a ride home. You know, when they're crying outside the bathroom because, you know, that bitch wasn't supposed to be here and now she's talking to Tommy. I want to be like, it's okay, kiddo. It's okay. You know,
Mhm.
see where that goes. All right, here, let's watch this. Let's see who they throw in jail, shall we?
Peely.
All right, who was that guy? You see that guy?
I saw Peely.
Oh, look at this guy. Look. Man, what's up with this guy? This guy's like 40.
No. Oh no. No, he's just like 32, but he's overweight and he's,
Holding.
yeah, Balding does that, but yeah, the banana guys though, those are Fortnite costumes. They're Peely.
Oh, were they? No, the clothes, as I understand it, James, is not for sexual purposes. It's because when they take all the ecstasy and dance, they get really hot.
Yes and no. It looks
It's to be slutty.
yeah, it looks hot as hell.
That's just why they tell their dads that they're dressed like
It's
that.
so hot.
All right, here we go.
We got a lot of people coming for this Electric
got?
Daisy Carnival. I think it's like 140,000, they say, projected a night. So they're all coming in tank tops. It's real hot outside. It's got to be like,
That is not that. James.
What were you talking?
Look at that. That is an outrage. They got her in shackles like she's an animal.
I don't think I'm outraged.
No. All right.
at least 102 right now. A lot of them are coming for possession. I ask everyone, they keep saying the same thing, possession, possession.
They make them put on clothes when they go into the jail, James.
Oh, lame.
Well, you know.
See, the scary part about this is if I feel for the people that have actually already ingested their drugs for the night and then they have to go to jail and then just be tripping, just rolling in jail. Just God, fluorescent lights and cops and no music and nothing to drink, nothing to eat, none of your friends. Just God, that sounds like hell.
Does it? Or does it sound like the better way to go through jail?
Oh, I'd probably rather be messed up on jail, but messed up in jail versus messed up at the Electric Carnival or whatever that was called.
Oh,
yeah, that's no contest. Yes.
Did you come from EDC? Are you going? You didn't even make it there? Did you go yesterday? Yeah? So what is it like? Like a big old plane? Different DJs. Do they? Then why'd you get arrested then if you didn't even make it there?
She had shrooms and marijuana in her car. Who does
that legal? Isn't that legal in the, or is it the shrooms?
I don't know. But who doesn't?
Did you know that that's illegal? Yeah. Do you have any piercing?
I'm here.
Take your nose piercing out.
Hang on,
Take that out.
First, listen, a few things. First off, why are you admitting to a cop that you're guilty? That sucks. That's stupid, especially when there's a camera there. Number two, like how are you this calm when she's like, "Oh, are you aware that that's illegal?" I'm like, "There's bitches, 140,000 kids, like 4 blocks that way. They're just swimming in drugs right now. Oh, it's illegal. Oh, what am I thinking? Oh man, how could I be one of these crazy people that actually?" Yeah.
What are you lecturing me for? You caught me. Go tell them. Go tell them.
Y'all are having Drug Fest 12 over there.
What do you see? Now, these were all, I'll give you a little backstory on this. She was sitting in her car on the way, pulling in, like there was a line, and apparently a cop was walking down the rows, just looking at all the cars, and smelled weed coming out of her car. That's her backstory. And then wait till you see what they found. James, the cops they got a table filled with all the drugs, and it looks delicious.
Nipples? Okay. When did you get here in Vegas? Thursday night? Yeah. Did you come with some friends or what? Yeah. Are they here? She's your friend? Both of them? Oh, you guys were in the car? You know I gotta cut this, right? How much was this bracelet to go into EDC? $400.
$400 bracelet.
All right, let's go back here so you can get yours.
That's probably like her pass for the weekend. They're just cutting it off on the first night.
Yeah, that bitch, dude. God.
I'm right here by the chair.
Show me the drugs.
I'm gonna work on those. Let me know when you're ready. Unfortunately, that bracelet I just cut off was $400, which
The girl ain't gonna flirt out here. Let me show you the drugs.
you change
You just
out.
gotta take off
We're
the
gonna
glitter.
switch you out to some pants.
Girl.
On yourself. The nurse, third row, first chair. Have a seat.
Definitely a
Here's the
marijuana
drugs.
odor coming from the vehicle.
Okay. Show me exactly what you found inside.
This was
This
their
was
car.
underneath the passenger seat.
So we've got some marijuana.
This right here was in the back. There was that little fold-in pouch in the back seat right.
Shrooms? God.
Look at those shrooms, man.
Real Al Capone here. Dude, this is Vegas. Like, y'all have criminal overlords. There's like 3 mob hits going on right now and in various alleys in Vegas. And you're hitting up some candy raver for 3 shrooms.
Wow, yeah, those are big shrooms, man. That's probably 4 or 5 grams of shrooms. And then look at her. She's got at least that's a half. That's a half. That's a half of that's not an eighth. That's not a quarter. That's a half.
Yeah, you can get some
weed.
high school juniors, like 2 or 3 of them high off of that.
Yeah. Let's see what else they got.
There, this
Some
was actually
psychedelic
in
mushrooms.
the purse. It appears to have some lime juice in there.
All right, that's another kind of mushroom, and that one's being marinated in lime juice. I don't know what that's about, but
I don't know what that's about, and I'm pretty drug fluent.
Something
Oh,
like
that's right.
that.
She said it was lemon juice.
And that was actually in the purse in the passenger side
Okay.
right there. This was also found in the back pocket, and you can see the
bowl?
Yeah, the residue,
the
obviously.
residue all over it.
All right. Have you ever seen psychedelic mushrooms before, prior to your law enforcement
No,
experience?
I have not seen those before.
what a nerd! What a nerd cop! He's never seen shrooms before.
I've never seen it. Have you ever seen a pair of unclothed breasts?
No.
Barney Fife? You've never seen mushrooms. You didn't go to college, Barney Fife?
Yeah.
You don't
No,
understand?
absolutely he didn't.
Oh.
No, he just answered an ad in a newspaper and then passed a test. That's basically.
Jeepers, is that what these are? These are psychedelic mushrooms?
Yeah.
Nerd. See, I want to be very pro cop, but I can't because they have to enforce these just lame nerd laws that I despise. And dude, I couldn't ever fill out the application because I don't want to be the guy when these girls are going to Vegas to have the best weekend of their lives. You know, they're probably about to like be done with college and enter the real world and get married and have a job and never be able to just be blitzed out of their mind for an entire weekend ever again for the rest of their lives until they retire, maybe. And you ruin that. This is what you do. You run around ruining people's parties. And who are you saving? Who is the victim here that you are granting justice to by ruining these girls?
Well, that's not their job, James. They are sworn officers. They have to enforce the law of the land, talk to the politicians. You can't blame the cops for that. That's their job. They don't get to interpret the law. They have to enforce it.
Right? No. This is person. Brady says he's the kind of cop who calls them marijuana cigarettes.
Yeah, and accuses them of being on the pot.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because when I was a kid, my dad called it grass, and I thought that was hilarious. My dad's like, "Are any of your friends smoking grass?" I'm like, "What is grass? Like, you mean like lawn clippings? Who says that?"
What are you guys doing? Smoking a doobie in here? That's the other one, doobie.
Yeah.
You mean a spliff? You mean a joint? You mean a bone? What are you talking? A hog leg? What are you talking about here? A doobie?
Oh man, see that's the sucky part about being a cop is you think you're going to be, I don't know, somewhere between like Wyatt Earp and Jason Bourne maybe, but you're really just, I mean, not even Miami Vice cool. You're just this nerd breaking up parties.
Yeah, you're Barney Fife. You said it.
Sucks. Oh, that sucks.
But I can't fault the cops for enforcing the law. Look, that's why I'm not.
Their fault.
It's not their fault. I can't blame them. They took the job. I can blame them for taking the job and being okay with enforcing the dark arts. But you know, I don't know that I can blame them really for doing it once they're collecting a paycheck.
Well, in my little nerd libertarian circles, there is an argument to be made that because we despise the profession and what it has become so much, and not the fact of being a cop, but just all the namby-pamby laws that they have to enforce, it's really taken all the nobility or much of the nobility out of the profession. One of the things, the argument to be made is not to gripe about it, but to become a cop. And then whenever you smell marijuana coming out of that pretty little girl's car, just Let her go.
The nobility of the profession. I don't know if you were just being fancy with words there, but what exactly was that? What is it? Because honestly, we take a lot of shots at cops today, but policing has never been more above board than it is today. Everything is videotaped. We see everything. They bring charges. I mean, the wake up. Do you know why? Do you know the argument, or not the argument, the old stereotype type of the Irish cop? Oh, it's Chief McGinnis, or Chief O'Hara, or it's always the big burly. You know where that comes from?
No.
Because back in the very early days, before there was a police force, there wasn't always a police force. The big cities didn't have police forces until like the 1890s. There was like independent enforcement. Who was a big one? You always see it in the old West movies. Like they didn't send a cop, and there was no FBI, so they would send a man.
Marshal?
No, not a marshal. And marshals aren't even cops. Marshals are just dudes who, seem like a good guy. So we're going to give him some law enforcement, but they're not really even cops. What were they called? The Pinkertons. Pinkertons. That's what it was. They would send them.
Yeah, right.
So the Pinkertons, it was the Pinkerton Detective Agency, and they became sort of the de facto FBI / every law enforcement everywhere. So if somebody did something, they'd send the Pinkertons out there. Oh, there's some Pinkertons in town. And the Pinkertons got so much power that the corrupt city bosses, whether it's Tammany Hall in New York or Chicago or anywhere else, any of the Boston, the Pinkertons started to set their gaze on the power structure, the corrupt politicians. So that's when they decided to create their own police force. And the first people they hired were the Irish immigrants. One, because they spoke English, and two, they would kick people's ass. They would do like all kinds of illegal shit, and they'd tune people up and all of that. But they were the immigrant class that spoke English, as opposed to and no one else would hire them because, the Irish were not hired back then for some reason. I don't know, the English, they got word out that we were apparently bad. So nobody would hire. Irish need not apply was a big thing. So the only job they had was to basically be these corrupt henchmen that then turned into municipal policemen. So the nobility of the job, I don't know where that comes from.
Well, no, look, there's always been corruption, and because they do have an inherent power that no one else has in society. They have a monopoly on violence, and it has been and always will be corrupted just from here on out. But it used to seem like there was a little more in the, like the motto protect and serve. There used to be a little more serve, like when in It's a Wonderful Life, when George gets all drunk and gets behind the wheel of a car and crashes into a tree, he's not worried about the cops coming. And if a cop shows up, he's going to give him a ride home. And I think that's a little more noble. I mean, you're just out there literally helping people. And that's what cops used to do. Now,
it's a movie. Cops never did. That's a movie. They just
out here in Bug Tussle, that's what they did. Out here in the middle of nowhere, if you were swerving or if you got in a wreck or a fender bender or whatever, it wasn't necessarily that we're going to absolutely destroy your life if you had a few drinks. A lot of times they would give you a ride home or call your wife to come pick you up, or that there was a little more serve. And like in that exact same time period, if it was in the 40s and you got caught with cocaine, you weren't going to jail. If you got caught with laudanum, like an opiate, you weren't going to jail. All that crap was legal. They were like, do you need help? Do you need us to help you? Not, we're gonna destroy you if we find something that's on our naughty list.
Let's segue seamlessly into another story that has everything to do with what we're talking about, the nobility of policing. This comes to us from the Pugs and Parker associate producer, Jeff Ballard, who asked me today on Twitter, when are you guys going to talk about this? So I thought we'd discuss, are you up on the story of the Tennessee cop who was banging all her coworkers? She had sex with
the one that did the train with like 6 dudes?
It's crazy. The nobility of the profession.
Right.
Strip Uno, foot fetish photos, and wife swapping sessions. Tennessee cop gone wild Megan Hall details her sexual escapades with 7 fellow officers as it's revealed jealous lover tipped off investigators. So the whole reason we know about this story is because she was banging all these cops that she worked with. Like all of these cops, they were like taking... I don't even know what this was about. Have you seen her?
Oh, I've seen her. Listen,
you're telling me that all these cops didn't have hotter wives at home? I mean, I don't understand why you're going to blow up your career over.
Well, you're not thinking that you're gonna blow up your career if you're the 7th cop to smash this one and 6 guys have had no negative consequences right before you. But the reminder here is there's a whole segment of society, like as disgusting and perverted as I can be, there's a whole like class under me as far as the sexual spectrum goes. Remember, like Bobby used to hang out with all these swinger guys and chicks.
Bobby had weird sex friends. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
and
was
they
really-
used to all swap wives. And if you were in this crowd and you like if you went to one of their parties, leave at midnight and take your girlfriend with you, because everybody's about to be doing everybody up in here. And there are some people who that's just their jam. And there's chicks who sleep with 6 dudes in one night, and then they turn around, they put on a badge and go to work on Monday, or sometimes they go teach 9th grade algebra. Because I've known some people that have pretty fantastic sex lives and stuff that's wilder than I would participate in, and then they turn around and they're like the librarian at SMU.
Yeah, well, I've always maintained that the craziest sex people out there are female substitute teachers. Female substitute teachers. They're out in bars every night because they never know when they got to work, and they show up half in the bag the next morning. I learned that from dodgeball. We had a whole bunch of like teachers that used to come out to dodgeball when we do our dodgeball tournaments.
Yes.
And they were insane. It's like, you want to see me make out? With who? Her. And then like 2 teachers would just start making out. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm fine with it. Hey, no, but it's just, weird when, anyway, here she is. Look at her. This is the woman that all these cops tanked their careers over.
Yeah, that's not really a good setup. I'm sure if you dolled her up and put the right outfit on her, or no outfit at all, she would be a little more appealing than this. This is no makeup, hair up, in a hat with glasses and a baggy t-shirt. This is the least flattering. And I've seen some other pictures where, look, she's not marriage material, but if you caught 24-year-old James, on a drunken Saturday and the invitation was floated, I don't think I'd participate in a train, but I'd be flattered you asked.
James, she has no chin. Look at her face. Her face just ends. It's like all cheeks, forehead, and then no chin.
That's what I'm saying. She's not marriage material, but she's not like, oh, I couldn't imagine anyone having sex with her. I've done a lot worse than that.
No, you haven't. All right, there she is. That's her all cleaned up for her cop picture. Better, I guess. She looks like she's got a couple scrambled chromosomes. She doesn't look fully formed. She's like a shrinky dink that came out of the oven just a little too late.
I don't remember reading a law that says all of your family can't be related. Like I don't I guess you're just a purist on that one.
All right, now here she is with her husband. Her husband, by the way, is standing by her. Her husband, who was not down with the swinging lifestyle, but is standing by her.
Oh, he's down with it. There's dudes who are into that and they love that and they talk smack and they're like, ooh, I got a hot wife and she's gonna get gangbanged at some hotel. We put a post on, I don't know, do they still do Craigslist, Tinder, or something?
I don't know.
There are people who this is their hobby, having their wives sleep with 5 guys at a time in some hotel room because they put a post online on some message board that we don't even know about. This is, dude, I know these people. I've met too many of these people. I am shocked that this many people like this exist.
I don't know. If that's like her, look, dude, her head is upside down. Look at, seriously, her forehead is the size of what a chin should be. And then look at that.
She's Jay Leno. Stop it. Listen.
Well, okay. But she's got no chin and she's got too much forehead. Just saying.
All valid criticism. But listen, you've been married twice and both of your wives are ridiculously attractive. No one ever, no couple ever propositioned y'all just to find out, hey, do y'all do any like sharing? Y'all do any swinging? Are y'all in the lifestyle?
All the time.
Okay.
We would hang out with, we hung out with Bruce and we'd go into porn stars out to dinner and but never. It's not my thing. I don't know. I couldn't possibly speak for her, but just yes. Dallas is a weird sex town. And I don't know. That didn't really ever feel right.
New Orleans was probably worse.
Probably. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Because they got like the difference between the weird sex towns is that with New Orleans, you got like women with penises down there. You got to look out for that.
Yeah,
Probably
a lot of those. Yeah.
a lot of those. Here, some, not quite as many. All right, so these are the dudes that tank their careers.
I mean, did they tank their career? And look, there was he
fired.
made the criticism earlier that why is she getting all the criticism and these guys aren't getting all beat up, but their careers are ruined too, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I thought they were all fired. Hold on, we'll go into the story. But let's look at this guy. This was her main squeeze. This was the first one that she started to have an affair with, and then he told everybody, and then everybody else was like, because he
Wait, this
basically,
is the guy that told everyone.
yeah. Well, yes, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I'm
There's,
paying.
there's 800,000 law enforcement officers on all levels in the United States. If just 1% of them are swingers, then we're talking about 8,000. There's 8,000 of these instances going on in America right now, and 7,999 of them are getting away with it because they can all keep their damn mouth shut.
This is Lewis Powell. Lewis Powell got involved and he ruined her for everybody else because apparently Lewis Powell has a massive man piece. And
How do you know this level of depth?
Story. I read this. Oh, the details. Dude, what did you not get about the setup? She's talking. She's telling stories about all the things that happened. Who's this? I think this is the guy who got jealous. See, the problem is she was doing 7 of her coworkers, and one of them actually kind of liked her. And that dude, once he found out that like everybody was doing her, he was like, I'm telling. He went bitch. He turned bitch. Who's this guy? I don't know who this guy is. She's doing this guy too. There's another one. There's another one. It's like an NBA team. And you got this guy. She's doing this guy too. This one she might enjoy. This looks like a handsome young man, does he not?
What town is this?
This is where is it? Tennessee. Where is it in Tennessee?
Please don't be Memphis because they got a lot going on, man.
No, it's like 20 miles outside of Nashville. It's Laverne, Tennessee, 20 miles south of Nashville. Yeah.
Okay.
It's Laverne, Tennessee. All right, this guy, he's handsome. He doesn't need to be. What's he doing? You know what? Everybody's like, we're all doing her. And he's like, I can get way better than her. I'm young and attractive and I'm still dating, college girls. You got to do her. So I'm sure that's how he got roped into it. He didn't want
Well, he's like, hey, man, if there's a train going and, there's already 4 other dudes.
Maybe this is the guy. Maybe this is I don't know.
Is that husband?
Despite his wife's infidelity. Yeah, this is the husband. This is Jedediah. This is Jedediah, the Tennessee husband.
Sound like a swinger. They still call them swingers.
I don't know. What are the kids calling them these days?
I think they call it sharing. They call them hot wives.
Yeah. Well, there they are. There's the happy couple. She's banging everybody at work, and he's sticking with her. Look, ow! Come on, man! Look at that.
Well, look, I am making.
It ain't hot.
No, that's a horrible picture of her. And look, she's not hot. She's not marriage material, but she's not disgusting. And what did I say? I've said a lot of dumb stuff, but Jennifer says Jesus James. What is that?
Look, I think she is disgusting. Her sexual weirdness kind of grosses me out. So, and I'm not a prude. I mean, I believe that women are allowed to be promiscuous. Women are allowed to own their own sexuality. I just don't think that's what was motivating her. I just think she's a girl that didn't get enough hugs from her dad, and she's just ridiculously slutty because she thinks that's what men want from her.
Do you remember my friend Carol? You met her. Anyway, she had this thing where once a year she had to be gangbanged, and it had to be at least 3 guys.
What? What? Who's Carol? I don't know Carol.
Man, remind me after the show to tell you what to look up about Carol. But Carol once a year had to have 3 dudes. Now, Carol is not normal. Carol she had abuse in her childhood, and so that's why she's absolutely hypersexual. And it's a sad, tragic story, and it's horrible.
Dad? Is it a dad thing? Dad did stuff to her?
Yeah.
Oh, that'll ruin a girl. That'll absolutely ruin it.
But she did all the normal pathology in her early 20s, where she was one of those Plano girls that got addicted to heroin in high school, and then she was a stripper, and then she dealt in prostitution actually, and ever since she got clean, well, there's been some other adventures with her, but she is a girl that has to once a year do something on that level. And so there's just people who are broken, who aren't like you and me, who need this super level, because this is like the sexual version of those dudes. And I don't understand and it's exclusively white people. The guys that do the wingsuits, they get like the little suit and they go skydiving, but they have like
those idiots. Yeah.
What level of adrenaline do you need? How exciting does your life need to be? So they have to reach this new level because they've done all these other X game kind of exciting things, and it's got all the way up to wingsuits now because skydiving just wasn't enough, Pugs.
Rock climbing ain't good. Base jumping ain't good. Now you just
gotta. Well, they did that 5 years ago, and then 3 years ago they did base jumping, and then they jumped out of planes, and then they jumped off buildings, and yeah. So this is how it happened. She is just escalating her sexual escapades into this new level, and because she's trying to fill a hole in her soul that sex is never going to fill, but that's what she's striving for. So she keeps going up the mountain. And you know what? Some people, I would say most people who go this direction pull it off and we never know about it. We work next to these people. Some of these people are kids' teachers. Some of these people just worked on your car over the weekend. Some of these people just checked you out at the grocery store.
I think I find sexually empowered and confident women to be very sexy. However, I can sort of tell the motivation behind it. Some girls, it really just is. She didn't give a fuck what you care. I'm my own person. I can do it. Other girls are what you just described, where you can tell, okay, she's doing this. She's got the baby voice because that's what men like. And, this is how I please men. No, I like a woman. You know what I mean? Like, I like a woman who's like, you're having a drink with her and then she goes, let's get out of here and go back to my place. I like that. I don't want the girl to go, oh, daddy, I got to go potty. Get out of here. You've got some damage. That's not sexy. That's a real turnoff. But, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. I don't have an issue. Like I've met a lot of porn stars, and remember they used to come in all the time on the show. Some of them are complete train wrecks. Some of them are really cool chicks who are just like, so what? What are you going to, I don't care what you think of me. That's kind of attractive.
Yeah, there's different layers and reasons. And look, the fun part about when you meet enough of the people who are like this, you find out that not all of them are tragedy cases. There just happens to be people who, like Mozart, is just hyperly inclined to play piano like a motherfucker. There's some people, chicks included, who are just built to have sex, and that's their jam, and it's healthy. And I don't understand it. Like it's not pathological. There's no negative consequences to it. They're just awesome.
You know who's a good example of that? Who's a good example of a woman? Pam Anderson. Pam Anderson doesn't do the baby talk. She's just a bombshell. She's just walking around going, who do I want to sleep with tonight? That's kind of hot.
Who gets to sleep with me tonight?
Yes. Yeah, that's the better way to phrase it. Yeah. Who gets to sleep with me tonight? As opposed to, oh, daddy, I'm cold. That I don't like.
Yeah, it's not the who is going to validate me by, giving me sex. It's like, who am I going to validate by deeming them worthy? I hear you on that one, man. That confidence thing.
Ross Rubio, Jenny McCarthy is a great example of that. Jenny McCarthy was just a chick who owned her sexuality. She was no victim. Now, Jenny McCarthy's kind of irritating in many ways, but when she burst onto the scene, she wasn't the, oh, daddy, please take care of me. No, she was like a tough broad who was really hot.
The real lesson for men that men need to learn from Jenny McCarthy, especially if you're young, is that Jenny McCarthy married Jim Carrey. So more important than anything else, be funny. Make her laugh. You want a girl to want you. You want a girl to like you. You want a girl to date you. You want a girl to fall in love with you. Entertain the shit out of her and make her laugh.
Yeah, especially if you're not attractive. Look, I'll make it even more wide than just be funny. Be interesting. If you're not Brad Pitt, like Brad Pitt doesn't have to be interesting. John Hamm doesn't have to be interesting. Right. You know what I mean? They just show up. But if you're not working with that, like have you ever seen like a guy with like a really hot girl and you're like, how the hell did that look? if I'm being honest. I married 2 women where I got used to that. You know, every room you'd walk into and, you know, you knew the guys were going, "How the hell?" And it's also, you know, dangerous because they all think they can hit on her because, you know, they're like, "Well, I could take her from him." I just lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Oh, just be interesting.
Just
Period.
be
Point blank
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, be interested. Making her laugh is a really easy way, but also stimulate her intellectually. You know, she might love the way you think. She might because she's not getting that from Brad Pitt with his backwards baseball cap, who's, you know, "Come on, baby, get in the car. We're gonna drink some beers out by the moon tower." You know, she's not getting that from them. So
Yeah,
you
you
gotta
want me to take my shirt off? Right. That I
you
don't
gotta
have
work
that
with what you
line.
got.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And here's the other thing. It's the John Lennon effect. John Lennon could have any woman in the world that he wanted at the height of the Beatles, and he did. He went through them all. He went through a lot of girls. And Yoko Ono was interesting to him. And that's why he fell in love with her. And everybody's like, "What is that about?" Well, when you can have any woman in the world essentially that you want, you can have. You start to look for other things that make you want to be with them. And, you know, that same thing happens with beautiful women. Beautiful women who get hit on all the time. You might see him with a guy that you're like, "How did she settle on him?"
Yeah, I think we know what happened to John Lennon. He like slept with a 10 and she sucked, and then a 10 and she sucked, and a 10 and she sucked, and then a 10 and she sucked, and a 10 and she sucked. He's like, maybe there's just something wrong with 10s.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or when you just have nothing but 10s.
This is interesting.
This
Yeah,
is
right.
interesting. This isn't good at all. I can
Got a
work with
flat
it.
tooth, she's short, kind of flat. This is
Yeah.
great.
This is wonderful. All right, that's it. Look at us. We
Oh,
burned.
by the way, another tip for guys. This isn't just young guys, this is any single guys. If you meet a chick and you're in the courting phase, and one of the things Pugs is so right, be interesting. Do not ever, ever, ever text abroad. Hey, what's up? Hey, what you doing? No, do not put the onus on them to invent something to
Unless you
entertain
look
you.
like John Hamm.
We don't. No one watching the show looks like John Hamm. We're all a bunch of chuds.
Are we now?